And we continue with Entrepreneurs LGBTQ International. And this time, I am happy to introduce Jamie Baxter from PrideLife. And basically, what they do is LGBT domain registration. But let Jamie talk about that. Hello, how are you?
I'm very good, Aaron. How are you?
I'm doing good here in Lima. But tell us more about PrideLife.
Sure. Well, I actually work for a company called SPI Marketing, and we have been following for 10 years now the expansion of the domain name world. And most people will understand domain names when you mention .com, .org. They have been the typical punctuations to domain names since the internet became quite popular and used by the everyday person. And what happened a few years back was that there was a program to introduce a lot more new domain names that would be anything from a generic word to a city name. And what happened is when all of those were launched, there were about 1,000 or more of them. We took the opportunity to open up a domain name registrar so that we would be a reseller of domain names. And the important thing about what we're doing is that it's the first time there's ever been an LGBT certified business selling domain names, believe it or not, in the entire world. And our focus in the domain names that have been released is primarily on those that celebrate diversity. And that's where our niche is on the 2 domain names specifically that have been released already, .lgbt and .gay, which is coming this September. And so our focus is going to be on helping to spread the word about those domain names, become the registrar of choice for the LGBTQ community around the world, knowing that they're supporting an LGBT business when they simply register a domain name.
And tell me, how difficult is to actually to register our names there? For example, you know that my website is tourguideperu.com. And how difficult is to fill the forms?
Yeah, well, the registration process only takes a few minutes, so it's quite simple. And what we have done is really helped people understand that there is an incredible amount of opportunity here. So when you tried to find a domain name on .com as an entrepreneur, a lot of the time your first idea isn't available. Sometimes your second, third, and fourth ideas are not available because somebody else has already registered them. The great thing about .lgbt and soon to be released .gay is that you're starting with a clean slate. So most names are available still. And the great thing is that a lot of generic words are available still. We recently had a registrant come through who registered teacher.lgbt. And believe it or not, it was available and it was priced very reasonably at around $30. And so the great opportunity with these new domains, especially .lgbt and .gay, is that there's so much opportunity for those who want to get the perfect name for their business.
Exactly. You mentioned $30, which is approximately the amount that a person has to pay per year for the registration. Am I sure? Yes.
Right now on PrideLife, we have, I believe we're offering the most competitive price for .lgbt domain names, with the first year being around $29.99, and that's in US dollars. And subsequent years are a little bit more than that, but we are waiting to get the final pricing on what the retail will be for .gay. And like I said, it's expected to launch this September. So this is a really reasonable price when you consider marketing budgets and where you would place this in your expenses. And so it's a great opportunity to add to what you already have, because nobody's asking you to get rid of your .com or your .org, but you can add a .lgbt or a .gay name to your domain portfolio to help expand your reach and increase the portfolio of domain options that you have to use in the future.
Exactly. That's the idea, to expand our business and be more visible. Is there a name that actually you can share with us that it's already part of the LGBT domain?
Yeah, absolutely. There's quite a few large organizations that have already participated in .lgbt. Lambda Legal here in New York City has registered a .lgbt domain name. IGLTA, the International Lesbian
Mm-hmm.
LGBTQ Travel Association, has recently registered their name, not only for the organization, but for their foundation and for their convention. And so it's expanding as we bring more visibility to these domain names. More registrations are taking place, and we're hopeful that they'll continue to consider PrideLife as an option when registering those names.
Excellent. And to end up this conversation, and mostly, what will be your advice for those entrepreneurs that are starting, or maybe they are on business already?
Yeah.
What's your advice for them?
Well, I think the advice I would give is that you should seriously think about domain names as part of your marketing plan. Not only do many of these new domains offer a much more direct route to your consumers because they're more descriptive. Sometimes a .com doesn't exactly tell you what type of business you may be going to with a domain name. But the great news is that with .lgbt and with .gay, you have a much better idea of what sort of a website you're going to, and more importantly, that they are open to business to LGBT because they have focused on that segment as part of their domain name alone. The other thing that entrepreneurs need to know, and I'll repeat this, is that there's great names available. So your first idea, so it's another reason to consider these two domains when you're thinking about putting up a business online. It also helps target the audience you're looking to reach. If you're a travel organization or a travel business looking to cater to the LGBT community, this is a perfect way to sort of go direct to them and make sure that they understand what it is that you're doing. The last thing I would say for entrepreneurs is that this is a simple way to also help grow LGBT visibility. And as I said at the top of this, it's about expanding the ecosystem of the domain name system on the internet so that it's not just .com and .org, but it's more descriptive and it's more direct. And it actually adds to LGBT visibility, not just in America, but also all over the world, because domain names are universal and global. So those are a few things that entrepreneurs should consider when thinking about domain names.
Exactly, because we have to take care about our business, and this is a good way actually to, again, as we said, visibility for our community. Jamie, thank you so much for your time. And can you repeat us the website where they can find you?
Sure, they can find us online at pridelife.lgbt.
Excellent. So I invite you to visit their website. I was checking it a few minutes ago, and yes, all the information is also there. Thank you again, Jamie. Have a good day.
You too, Eric.